Hey everybody, welcome to the return of the FnJ Podcast.
Are you gonna cut that?
So we're back. We're giving this whole thing a try again after like what, a 2-3 year hiatus? How long has it been?
How long has it been?
At least 2 years. Yeah.
What was it since Valentine's Day?
He's Jeff that remembers that day.
Dear diary.
It was short of the 69th podcast. So was this what, the 68th? Because I remember that being
Right, the 69th podcast was just us groaning and making sick sounds.
Was it really?
Yeah, we never
That sounds
posted it
really
though.
Interesting.
We never posted
That
it
was
though.
the 69th podcast?
Yep.
And nobody was ultimately satisfied?
Cat, come over here. We got
So yeah, we decided to give this a shot again because Paul and I were talking one day, and Paul was like, "You know what? We should really bring back the podcast."
You've been working on that Paul impersonation, clearly.
Honestly, I just wanted to see Aaron again.
Yeah, man, exactly. I've always been telling him to get the band back together, and so it's cool that we're doing it again.
Well, it's like impossible though, because Paul over here is elusive as usual.
Well, I retired. I have a different lifestyle now.
Living the dream.
What is that dream?
We'll talk about that. First off, let's get into some of the stuff we used to get into, which was, current affairs, sports, stuff like that. Aaron, why don't you take it away? What do you want to talk about in terms of current affairs?
Current affairs. So on the last podcast, did you talk about the whole Syria thing?
We never did a last
This is
podcast.
the
This is the
first
first one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're back.
Wow, sweet, okay.
You would've
So
done
I
that.
thought it was interesting that, about 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, the president came out with a statement, with a State of Union, kind of a State of Union address, where he was basically saying that they were almost had their finger on the trigger, ready to make surgical strikes into Syria. And at first, when he was saying it, he acted like it was about to happen like that night, and then he kind of backpedaled and said, "Well, if they don't do X, Y, and Z, then we'll do it." And I just found it interesting that the whole thing that has him all miffed and upset is that it was chemical weapons. Not the fact that there were kids being blown up and shot. You know what I mean? If the guy had just stuck to the classics and bullets, it wouldn't have even made it. What I mean? Seriously, that was the only thing that was upsetting to him.
It's
right?
a really weird, it's socially totally acceptable to blow people up and
Yeah.
shoot them. You can do that to hundreds of thousands of people. We won't do anything. But
Especially to your own people.
Exactly. You kill a few hundred or whatever with chemical weapons. Oh, you crossed the line.
Yes,
Yeah, it's such a hypocrisy. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
He never mentioned that they need to stop killing people
Exactly.
or stop the violence. He's like, don't use chemical weapons.
Yeah.
That's because
Oh, here.
As-
Rob's going to argue the NPR point of view. Because Rob's an NPR liberal.
the point is that
It
the
could be
world,
used on us.
the world has come to the agreement that chemical weapons will not be used
So
in any kind of
shooting
warfare.
a child with a gun is
That's my
totally
point.
good.
Depending what
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's
Chicago.
deplorable too. That's deplorable too. But what the point he was trying to make is that if we let them start using chemical weapons on their own people, that gives free reign for everybody to start using it in warfare in all kinds of situations. And so, because they came to an agreement, all of the world, we're not going to use chemical weapons, then would Syria trying to break that rule, which we don't even know if they really did, if it was just the rebels doing it to themselves.
Right.
What do they call that? The false flag thing?
When you do it to your own...
Right,
Actually,
to initiate.
Like 9/11.
Truther!
Are you a truther?
No.
Yeah, you are.
No.
Oh, you gotta get it
But it
again.
is true. In the 60s, it's true that in the 60s there was an operation that there've been documents recovered that you can look up and see that it was
It's all on the internet, bro.
It was suggested.
on Art Bell's website.
It was suggested that they bomb interests in Florida, so they could blame it on the Cubans. That way, they wouldn't have to wait for the whole Cuban Missile Crisis. They can just do it and get
I
into
need
it.
to see these documents.
Totally true. All right, I'll produce them.
Okay.
So, point being, obviously, I'm joking about 9/11. I don't think that was an inside joke. but it's so
Yeah.
stupid. But I think it'd be stupid to say that the rebels did. Since those people aren't that sophisticated. You know what I mean? They're not doing that. I think it's pretty obvious who did it.
I don't think you're giving them enough credit. The rebels.
You think they would do that?
I'm just saying they could.
Is death by chemical weapons really that bad, though?
Yeah, man.
I'm trying to think. How would I rather
You
go?
convulse,
So I
you
can-
suffocate, you...
But then if you watch videos of
go
someone
into
who
seizures.
gets shot or blown up, and necessarily die right away. It's not like the movies.
Hey,
they're suffering. Just
listen. You're trying to make the argument that because they're still suffering due to being shot or something, that makes Obama a hypocrite. What I'm trying to argue is that I understand that that's also terrible, but this sets a precedent. This changes the game. It does. It changes
the game.
It changes the game. We're going back to World War I mustard gas shit.
Right, exactly.
Which the Geneva Conference all agreed. All right, that shit sucked real
The
bad.
Geneva Conference also talked about no torture and stuff of that, and
we didn't
we've
torture.
been torturing people, haven't we?
We didn't torture nobody.
Oh.
We just got them a little wet.
Have you seen
We did it backwards. We gave him a towel first, and then gave him the water.
Yeah. Come on now. I mean, here's the thing about this whole thing. There's no real right answer. To me, when I was trying to debate what I think the right thing was to do was, I just kept thinking, I'd rather not let a country start using chemical weapons and then give other countries the idea, all right, well, Syria's doing it.
The idea. They already know.
Yeah.
Right, but then if you don't enforce and say, no, this stuff is banned because you've used it, now we're going to, punish you.
But
give you a slap on the hand.
What right do we have to punish them?
Wouldn't it be the United Nations' job
Yeah.
to do that as opposed to the United States?
Right, but the United Nations tried, but then you have
power.
Russia and China all stepping in saying, no, you can't do that.
But that's the point, is to get differing opinions.
But when every other country wants something to happen, here's the thing. The world looks to the U.S. to take care of business when they can't.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, that's a complete misconception.
That's an American exceptionalist ideal that you have. We're number one.
word.
We're number one. We're not.
Putin would say we're not that exceptional.
I know. And I love how he gets in trouble for
he got fried for that.
Actually, a very coherent argument and a true argument. He gets in trouble and railed against because he's right. We're not the number one country in the world.
Right, and to me, his point was that we're all humans.
Exactly.
That's how we're not exceptional. Is that we're all people. We all have rights. But
unless you're gay,
the press takes one little clip of it and they're like, he says America sucks.
Don't talk to me about Putin. All right.
Why?
Well, him coming out and talking about human rights, and you look at Russia's track record right now. It's like, come on. Who are you talking to right now? Who do you think you are to be the one that stands up on a pedestal and wave your finger at the U.S.?
They're harboring our fugitives now, right?
Yeah, a bunch of jerks.
You mean our patriots?
Here comes the cold.
Well, what's funny is I think that he was just sitting there in the airport until some senator.
It was like that movie.
Terminal.
Terminal.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks.
He's like, I'm from some crazy country. I'm Edward Snowden.
Some senator was like, what's wrong with Russia is they don't allow political dissent. And then they're like, all right, come on in, Snowden. Let's bring you out of the cold. So Russia gets a bad rap, and I think this was kind of, although he did steal our Super Bowl ring.
That's a story.
Yeah. Why don't you tell that story?
Supposedly, I guess there was some sort of meeting with Robert Kraft, right, and Putin. And Putin asked to see the ring, reports have it. And then Kraft said that he just put it in his pocket. And he never got it
and
back.
He walked away, and the security guard just went around him.
And wouldn't let him get the ring back.
From going to talk to Putin.
And it's been years, I think, right? and then supposedly Kraft brought it up to them, and then he was told to let it go.
Yeah,
in terms of national security.
Right, yeah.
And then Kraft's like, no, I own the Patriots, so I'm more powerful than the government. So I want my ring back. And then Putin was offering to make him a new ring, blah blah blah. First he denied he had it. Then he offered to make him a new ring.
You see this shit? You hear this shit? You steal a man's Super Bowl ring,
that guy didn't,
and we let it go.
Did he earn that ring?
He's the owner of the Patriots.
But that doesn't mean anything.
He put the money in.
It's like a producer doesn't deserve an Oscar when wins Best Picture, right?
Not really.
That movie wouldn't exist without that producer, hawking his wares. And the Patriots wouldn't have existed without Kraft stealing people's money.
You don't think another owner could step in and do the same job?
Well, then they would have been robbed too by.
Yeah, they would have. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
Oh,
that-
Jerry Buss. Nice to meet you.
I'll say I think things would go different in LA.
Yeah, probably.
You think Mark Cuban would get his ring stolen?
Fuck, I don't think he would have took it off his finger.
Yeah, Cuban's pretty gangster. I don't think he'd allow that.
He'd be like, "Here's my fist."
Yeah.
It's probably
You can
grafted
stare
to
at
his hand at this point. But, Paul, what did you want to talk about? Current affairs?
Current affairs?
Yeah.
I don't have any current affairs to talk about.
Wouldn't it be nice if you had known about this?
Yeah.
Like, even an hour ago.
Yeah, even an hour I could have thought something. Like, what's going on in the world? I don't know. Like,
Well, what's funny about the whole Syria
everything's
thing
Syria.
is
We haven't
that
talked about Syria.
the thing about Syria is like, you know, it was big
Fucking
news
fair.
3 weeks ago, and now we're talking about what fucking
Well, how about
Kenya and the mall.
No, how about I bring up
Dawn of the
Chicago,
Dead?
something nobody wants to talk about.
What's going on in
Chi-
Chicago? there?
Chi-town?
Yeah, Chirac, as they call it.
Oh, man.
What's happening?
Come on, that's my town now.
It's constant murders. Just recently.
Is that a rapper?
Yo, this show, constant murders in the house. Aaron, you a rap. Constant murders rap.
Hey, yo, I know you heard of. My name is Constant Murder. I'm not nice, though. I am a berserker.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
is it like way more dangerous? Because I love the statistics when they're like, it's actually more dangerous than Iraq, or it's more dangerous than more dangerous than.
I haven't heard of
You step out the door, you get shot at.
But it's just constant gang warfare, and apparently it's block to block. So these aren't gangs like in LA where you have like the Crips and the Bloods. These are like every single block is like these kids gang up, and
The greens, the reds.
I don't know if they're
the
colors,
blues,
but yeah. But like
yellows.
I think last weekend there was 13 people shot at in a park
Dang.
by two guys just shooting.
Oh, yeah, I did.
See, and you
hear
don't
about
hear
this.
a lot about it, but you know,
It was the people were too busy talking about the mall in Kenya getting shot up.
right. But what's more important to us as Americans?
Should be America.
It should be the fact that we have
not
a
as
city that
under
is completely falling apart,
Yeah.
and we're not doing anything about it.
Or like Detroit.
I was going to
Yeah.
say, we didn't do anything about Detroit. Why would we
But
do
the-
anything about Chicago?
Right, but this is people's lives. They're dying. I mean, Detroit just fell apart financially, obviously. So they're suffering, but they're not killing each other. Is the difference.
Because they can't afford the bullets.
The gangs more. The gangs are more.
They're just throwing the guns at each other.
It's more about drugs than it is about territory, right?
No, I actually think it's not. It's probably somewhat about drugs, but it is just like supposedly what happens is you see someone that's not on your block or doesn't live in your area, they just open fire. It's not about drugs. It's
They give you a warning?
no. I think there's no warning. At least from all reports that I've read about.
They come up to you and say, "Excuse me, sir, I don't think you belong here.
Can I see?
I
your
suggest,"
ID?
and he lifts up his shirt and throws
Papers.
the gun.
Yeah.
I suggest you vacate at this time. Otherwise, I may have to get medieval on your ass. And then it's up to you what you do from there.
What block do you think Constant Murders is from?
187.
H block.
187 block, man.
I'm impressed with your freestyle ability. I really am. Like,
It's in the blood.
That extra muscle. The rind portion of the brain is more advanced in this species.
So my question is that if it was still, in Chicago, it was black on black violence. Isn't it also black on black violence in Kenya? So why is that getting more?
If they're using chemicals in Chicago,
Yeah.
I think people
Yeah.
would care more.
Because you're saying that people are not talking about it because
well, they don't talk about it because it's black on black. Honestly, I mean, when you really break it down, that's why people don't talk about it. If a bunch of 13 white people got shot in a park over the weekend, you don't think that would be all over
massacre
the news?
in the park.
Or a Navy Yard? That's all
Yeah.
over the news.
Yes, so, like, the wounded include a 3-year-old boy.
Exactly.
Like, there's a lot of actually
Yeah.
innocent people, it sounds like. It wasn't just a bunch of
Whoa,
gangbangers
He
killing
was
Yeah.
probably slanging.
Yeah. It's Iraq. Constant murders.
Yeah, his name was Deonta. And he had a nickname, Deonta Tayman Howard.
What's Tayman?
Okay, to be 3.5 years old and have a
nickname.
nickname, he's slanging.
Yeah, T-A-Y man.
What does
He was
that
only
mean?
don't
wounded.
know.
What, did he get shot?
He was wounded.
Wow.
He was just wounded.
See?
He lived to tell
He
about
had
it.
enough awareness to be like,
He hit the deck. Yeah.
elbows and assholes, just gone.
Man, that's pretty scary.
Yeah, but no one talks about it because it's not white people getting killed.
So explain Kenya. Why is that such a big deal?
Is it?
Well, it's a big deal because of terrorists. It always gets us going when, we fear the Muslims.
The T word.
Yeah.
Is that who did this?
Islamists,
Well,
extremists.
It's Al-Shabaab, I think it's called. It's
Al-Shabaab?
it's a Somali fundamentalist.
Yeah, apparently
religious
in
terror.
Kenya, malls are like safe places. People go there because it's safe, not necessarily to shop. And so it's a big deal that
Well, they
terrorists...
don't have security.
We must
there.
go to the mall.
Like, it's getting crazy. Yeah, no.
That wasn't good.
Keep going.
I felt uncomfortable. It's okay when you do it. It's okay when I do it.
If you're stuck in the mall during a shootout, though, what's the best store to hide out in?
Oh, I'd go
that's
like a
good
Big
question.
Five, if they had
Go
that in
Big
there,
Five.
maybe. Any sort of thing with a gun.
Do you have gun shops in malls generally, though? Maybe in Kenya, I suppose.
I would almost say the fucking gift card store, Hallmark.
Hallmark?
Why?
Well, one, there's only going to be old people there, so they're going to get shot first. They're not going to look for young people hiding. They'll be like, all the old
Where would
people
you
are
hide
on their
though?
way to hide.
Just
Hide.
hide underneath all the dead old people bodies.
Make a pile of dead people?
Well, plus,
Dead
too, it'd be so
old
easy to
people.
find cards for grieving.
Yeah, you can leave your last
already
will and
there.
testament.
You already there. You sign it and leave it on the dead person. Sorry about your luck.
It's a Hallmark moment.
It would just be the most inconspicuous place as opposed to everybody going to like, I'm going to go to a big department store. Fuck that.
What was it like? Was it explosives or like a gun?
Well, at first they started with just guns, and then apparently they had explosives because they took down 3 floors.
Wow, that's a big ass mess.
Really, I didn't hear about that.
And so right now they're rummaging through the rubble because they think there's more dead bodies.
Are you sure that wasn't the government when they went in?
The government claims that they didn't do that. It was the terrorists. But, it's Kenya's government. Who knows what the hell if they're saying is true. Apparently they got 5 terrorists, but there's like 65 people.
5's a start. That's like a percentage.
And they're trying to say there was an American man and woman involved with the terrorists. So,
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
We were going to go to war with Kenya.
It's
Is it
it'd
oil
be
there?
Somalia.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
They would attacked Kenya because Kenya had troops in Somalia. Because they share a border. Man, you don't listen to NPR a lot. You have all their ideals and you steal all their content. But you don't listen to it.
Fucking Kenya? That's fucked.
There's not enough resources. We don't need Kenya. Let's just wait till Tom Hanks makes a movie about this in like 10 years. And then we'll pay attention.
Captain Phillips.
Yeah.
Is everyone looking forward to Captain Phillips?
Sure. But we'll talk about that in the 3rd hour.
Will we?
We're not making it 3 hours.
Jeff, any current events? I mean, have you even kept up with current events
I
on your
looked up
travels?
current events while the rest of y'all were talking. And you know what? I found one.
In-N-Out Burger in Hong Kong.
Is there an In-N-Out Burger in Hong Kong? Because there's some states that I visited that lament the fact that they don't have an In-N-Out
Like
Burger.
New York.
I didn't go to New York.
Seattle.
No, something
Oregon.
as simple as New Mexico or Colorado. These places do not have In-N-Out Burger, and when I talk about burgers, and they ask me, isn't In-N-Out Burger so great? And that's like, I'm one of those people that as soon as they open one near me, I stop fucking going to In-N-Out Burger. I used to go out of my way to have In-N-Out
Do you
Burger.
think it's way overrated?
I think I don't like lines. And every time I go for an In-N-Out Burger, there's always a fucking line, and I'd rather...
It moves so fast.
No, it doesn't move fast enough. It's a line.
Jeff wants his food in his mouth now.
See,
He wants to walk in. He wants to walk into the restaurant and someone just put it in his mouth.
Well, the thing is, you would willing to wait half an hour.
But yeah, no, if In-N-Out Burger, if I'm in a drive-thru for In-N-Out Burger and they're going to give me free food, I will wait for my In-N-Out Burger that's free. That's not happening. I know they're reasonably priced. I get that, and I understand that, and I respect that. But the line. I see the line coming out of the drive-thru. I see that's the fucking people outside taking orders because the speaker is too. It's just there's such a backlog that they have the people outside taking the orders. That intimidates me. So that means I'm going to be waiting here longer than I would like.
All Jeff
And
wants
there's
to
a
do
Carl's
when he goes-
Jr. 2 blocks away that has no line. I will go there.
Do you feel bad after you eat, Jeff? I don't mean
sometimes.
I don't mean physically. I mean
no.
How did this turn into Jeff
No.
thing? We're talking about current events.
you don't feel guilty at all? Like, you don't feel like,
I did actually 2 nights ago. I had Taco Bell.
Well,
I usually really like Taco Bell, and I also had a half gallon of milk. I had a half gallon of milk, and I had Taco Bell, and I finished it all, and I felt like shit.
Why would you drink a half gallon of milk?
Because I drank like 3/4
Wait,
of
let me
it.
guess. It's whole fat milk.
No, we're talking 2%. This is reduced fat. Don't get that
Okay.
shit twisted.
Okay.
So I eat the Taco. It was bad Taco Bell. It was not well prepared.
Oh,
Taco
was it?
Bell. They rushed it.
From
I
the
could
Fresco
tell.
menu.
No, hey,
Well, they saw who it was. They saw it was you. You walked up to the machine like, you just opened your mouth and pointed at it.
I'm telling you right now, the Taco Bell's in
Just went
Washington.
right by the speaker up to the window.
Washington Taco Bell is high quality Taco Bell's California, and you could learn something from them. But I'm saying the Taco Bell was not fulfilling, but I was washing it down with milk. Now, I had 3/4 of my half gallon.
That sounds disgusting.
I love that you just drive around with a gallon of milk.
Yeah, why'd you have milk?
You're all gangster.
Yeah.
All gangster.
Glove.
I stopped and got milk.
You get a constant root bumping from the speakers. Oh, shit.
I didn't want
Mercedes.
soda. I was sodaed out, so I hit Circle K.
Aww.
That's close. I hit a Circle K on the way. They have crystal milk, which I like. I like it. A little side note too. Other
I
states.
thought you were going to say crystal meth.
Exactly where my head. No.
You got the crystal
Other
meth.
states' milk sucks. California has really, really good milk, and I learned to appreciate this when I came back. there's
Wisconsin. Everybody in Wisconsin just fucking.
I didn't go to Wisconsin, in all fairness, but I'm telling you right now, Oregon, Washington, Colorado, Idaho, their milk's subpar. New Mexico, strangely, has decent milk, but California milk is where it's at. So I was very, very appreciative to be back so I can have some really good milk. So I did stop by the Circle K, and I didn't get a whole gallon. I should have got a whole gallon because I wouldn't have drank the whole thing, but I get a half gallon to go with my Taco Bell. And I finished my Taco Bell, and I drank milk, and I drank 3/4 of it, so I had 1/4 of a half gallon left. So it's like, yeah, all right, I got to finish this off, right?
Well,
I don't have to, but I decided I'm going to anyway.
I'm sure there was a homeless person that would have loved some milk.
No, I was at home by this. I'm not eating in front of homeless people. That's cruel. I'm eating at home. So I finished off the milk, and I felt like shit afterwards. But emotionally, no.
Were you watching something, or were you just
Oh, no,
sitting quietly in the room?
I was at my mom's at the time.
Oh.
I was probably watching SportsCenter because it was late and nothing else is on at night.
So did you get like an emotional laydown after you indulge in a?
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
For
I
sure.
think
Like,
it's
if
sort
I
of
eat too
normal.
much,
Yeah, or
Like,
you
why
eat
did I
something
do that?
really shitty for you.
Yeah.
It's like,
you let yourself down.
yeah,
You're
it's
like,
kind
why
of
did I
like,
do
yeah, what am I doing
Well,
here?
there's certain things I wouldn't fucking eat. I don't think I've ever like come back from like a buffet and felt really, really good about myself afterwards, or anything I basically have ever.
You don't go like,
had
all right, I
that
got
came
a
out
good
of a fucking
deal.
microwave. I never feel good eating something that came out of a microwave. I never.
But the food you eat, even when you go out, is probably from like sort of that sort of
It's probably
microwave.
out of sight, out of mind, Paul. Out of sight, out of mind. I don't, as long as I don't know it, I'm fine.
Some really good food can be actually heated up in the microwave.
Yeah.
I don't have no. Well, that's probably true. But I'm not interested.
You just, I think you've never developed like normal food faux pas or
Like for what? For example.
well, like the shame thing of like if you eat too much or.
No, I did that. Like I was saying, buffets. I go to a buffet.
But
I eat
Taco
too
Bell,
much.
You put that shit in your body.
Taco Bell tastes good.
Oh,
Taco Bell's
my
good.
Like
God.
eating before you go to bed. Does anybody else feel like I totally
I feel
shouldn't
terrible
be
the
doing
next
this?
day, actually.
Yeah.
See, I'll do that. Like I'm not necessarily hungry, but I had breakfast and I haven't eaten since breakfast, and I was like, well, fuck, I need to eat probably.
Did you ever watch The Cosby Show? And
I-
Cliff Huxtable used to eat those big
Yeah,
Subway
the
sandwiches.
hoagies.
The
Yeah,
hoagies.
He never got
He
to
only
finish
had
them.
bad fucking dreams.
Yeah, and
With
then-
Muppets in them?
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, he gave birth to a hoagie.
That's a great dream, right?
Yeah. Have you ever given birth to food?
Didn't they always have like one of those episodes every
Not yet,
season?
God willing.
So it was like the
Dream.
Treehouse of Horror for The
Yeah.
Cosby Show.
Yeah.
It was the hoagie episode.
Why are you asking Aaron?
Because you know I watch.
I don't know.
I watched that.
Because you acknowledge that you remember that episode. You
I remember that episode. Paul probably remembers that episode.
I just said what his dream was about.
Steve, did you watch The Cosby Show?
I watched the shit out of some Cosby.
Well, all right. It's not just Aaron. It's the rest of us. It was a very fucking popular show.
Well, actually, I had a crush on the older sister.
Which one?
The one that went to college.
Allegedly, but who didn't go to college.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Lisa
That was a great
Bonet?
plot twist.
Yes. Oh, man. And then I saw her in High Fidelity. Jesus
You
Christ.
know what? I generally don't dig the really, really skinny chick, but Lisa Bonet does do something for me. I really, really, really like her. And she was cool.
Yeah, her and Janet Jackson. I don't know what
She
it was.
got-
And that little
She got
Rudy
the
girl
show,
grew up to
right?
be quite an attractive young lady.
She's alright.
I'm just saying. I saw pictures of her from the day of the movie. I was like, all right, hit that. I didn't see the movie.
We're all flashing back on tiny little Rudy.
I'd say she's grown up to be a beautiful woman. I did not find her attractive.
What
when
about
she-
Olivia?
You know what? I kind of had a thing for Olivia too. Now that I think about it.
You kind of had it.
But
though,
then
like,
she
back
put
then?
on too much weight.
What about the mom? Powerful lady.
That intimidated
Rich.
me. That intimidated me.
Yes, true. She ran that house.
Claire Huxley.
That's not that bad.
Mr. Shaw.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, Celia Rashad.
Get more words
That's
about
it.
it.
That's
All
it.
right. Hey, and
I'll only give you a little bit. If I keep going, then it ruins it.
Well, you could do the pudding and all that. Everyone else says.
No, see, I can't do
Yeah,
it. I gotta quit while I'm ahead.
No love for Tempest Bledsoe?
which one's that?
The one that we haven't mentioned yet?
Oh, that
Wasn't-
Who wasn't
Vanessa.
the, not
Vanessa.
the, yeah, Vanessa.
Raven, who?
Raven Simone. That is.
Yeah.
That is.
She was a rapper.
She was one of the Cheetah Girls.
What's a cheetah girl?
It was a Disney show where.
Oh, I thought you meant like the
Jeff, you
Cheetos.
watch a lot of Disney, don't you?
No.
Yeah, he only watches Disney Kids.
No, I have friends who have kids, and
All
I
right,
like.
let's bring this all back.
right.
Yeah.
Current event.
Back to Jeff's a pedophile.
Currently, he's a pedophile.
Current event, Jeff.
All right, so they Jerry Brown, our governor of California, just passed a bill that paparazzi cannot harass celebrity children when photographing or videotaping
It
them.
goes back to kids.
Yes.
Always goes
And
back
they
to
will be
kids.
slapped with a misdemeanor.
Oh.
And,
Big deal.
yeah, so effective January 1st of 2014, if you take a picture of somebody's kid and they don't like it, your penalties are up to a year in jail or fine up to $10,000.
So your encore career has hit a setback.
Yeah.
Is that what you were planning on doing?
I'd be the nicest paparazzi person. I'd be one of those people that would ask permission.
Do you think you have the mobility for that?
I don't. I clearly don't have the mobility for that. I threw my back out reaching for my phone the other day, and I never felt so. That next morning, I was walking on my hands and knees. I was very, very vulnerable. And
Were you at home?
No, I was at a friend's house. I was on the road.
Were you like a turtle when you
I-
came back out?
It was terrible because I was sleeping on children's beds.
I'm telling
Oh, no!
No, they weren't in them with me.
I just wish this kid looked like a Rudy.
But they're so low to the ground that when I got up the next morning after I
The
threw my...
kid? He threw his back out because he was too low crouching.
All right.
Oh, you don't like this?
No, I don't like this. No, I don't like this. I'm saying I could not... I had nothing to hold on to because I was in a child's room and I tried to pull myself up.
Because the kids ain't got titties yet.
And I collapsed a couple times.
You climaxed?
No. But I was literally...
What were you trying to pull yourself
I was
off?
trying to stand up and walk like a man because I had to go to the bathroom. And I couldn't. I kept on collapsing onto the bed, and I was near tears because the pain was excruciating.
So you're physically...
I was physically walking down the hall on my hands and knees like
Were
a
you
human
sweating?
centipede for one. And my friend Theo, God bless his heart, he sees me. He looks at me like I'm a pathetic dog that needs to be shot. He invites me to his bed, which is higher and firmer. And I basically lay on his bed for the rest of the fucking day. And it was terrible. What was I getting at, though, by saying all of that?
Something
You
about
got
Jerry,
no mobility.
Jerry Brown.
No
Yeah, no, I'm
mobility.
terrible with being a terrible paparazzi guy.
Is it paparazzo?
Paparazzo. That was the term. Was that the term that, what's his name, 8.5 guy came up with? The paparazzi. That's his term.
Fellini.
Thank you.
Roberto?
for Federico.
Yeah. He coined Fun fact.
Oh.
So, there it is. No, I'd be terrible paparazzi. I'm not aggressive enough.
That's what the kids say.
Steven, any current events?
That's all we're doing. That's it?
Yeah,
That's it.
All right, fuck it.
We didn't
I'm
even
sorry
talk
to
about
bring
it.
up poison gas. Being shot in Chicago.
I like your current event, Jeff.
Moving the fuck on. What do you got, Steve?